Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Just Bloom with Kiki Orr. This is episode number 13. I can hardly believe that this is the third episode in since the pandemic, or since being quarantined. And just to put it in perspective as it relates to time, the podcast airs every other Wednesday. So it's been essentially 6 Wednesdays. There's been so much that is going on out here in the world, and I hope that you all are taking great care of yourself as much as you can and taking care of your loved ones. And for anyone who has experienced a loss of a loved one or family member who is sick, my prayers and heart continue to go out to you and to the world worldwide. I am grateful to say that I do have a cousin and his wife who have recently recovered or still in the healing process from the COVID-19. It also had me thinking, wow, should I even really do this episode because there's so much going on? Then I was like, you know what? Remember why you created the podcast, and part is because it's very healing and it is my creative outlet. So if I cut that off, then what do I have? And it also serves as an opportunity for me to empower other women, to connect community, to support women in their blooming process. So I hope that this serves as an alternative to what is going on out in the world, much like your Netflix is an alternative or reading a book is an alternative. Whatever that alternative is for you, I hope that you enjoy this next episode. In this episode, I am joined with some of my wonderful friends. I asked them a few questions. I wanted to know from them, since being quarantined, what have they learned about themselves? What expectations of normal have they let go of? What new connections have they made? And then during this time, what have they created and curated? Without further ado, here are a few of my good friends.
My name is Alisha, and I'm a public health practitioner servicing the Bronx in New York City over the last 11 years. While quarantined, I have realized that I'm no longer able to run away from this destined path of becoming an influencer. And not an influencer in the superficial way in which we have come to know the word via the internet. Since the shutdown began, friends started requesting my presence on their virtual gathering, whether it was to motivate future public health professionals via a college course or just to simply talk about self-care. It dawned on me that people out here really value the things that I have to say. For so long, and even in the present, I felt like I was not the most articulate person, and I'm sure there are some folks out here that may agree. I would beat myself up wondering if the words that just came out of my mouth even made any sense. Now is the time in which I have to use my voice more than ever. I'm actually forced to use my voice more than ever. And now I've realized the value of my ideas, my words, my suggestions, and opinions. Moving forward, I will use my authentic words in my vernacular, not be scared about it anymore, to move towards inspiring more, encouraging more, and leading. My interests have always been to encourage and educate folks on finding their personalized plan for healing, to help them realize how beautiful this life actually is. Since the quarantine has begun, this light in me has been ignited.
Alisha is a beautiful spirit, and she also makes some really cool earrings. And when I listen to her share, it reminds me of Marianne Williamson's poem, Our Deepest Fear. And I'll just read the beginning of it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Keep using your voice, Alisha.
My name is Benjamin A. I'm a creative. I'm a singer, songwriter, actor, model, and I'm also a fitness professional as a private trainer and a group fitness instructor for Equinox. The biggest thing that I learned about myself during this quarantine is that my health is my wealth. Material things don't matter. What's happening now in this pandemic is showing me that, number one, it does not discriminate. It doesn't care what our race is, what our sex is, what our age is, how much money we have in the bank. It doesn't matter. For me, the fact that I am healthy, that I can breathe, that I can see, that I can walk, that I can move, that I can create, is all I need to lean into. It's what I'm grateful for. It is what has been sustaining me and keeping me going daily, and it's keeping me connected to others. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. I could have all the money in the world, the cars, jewelry, planes, Right now, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. There are people that have more than I have materialistically, and they would trade it all to be able to kiss loved ones that are dying, friends that they're losing, to be able to go about their day-to-day business. I think the biggest thing this pandemic is teaching me is it is so important to self-care and take care of myself and stay healthy so that I can continue to create, so that I continue to sing, so I can continue to songwrite, act, model, work out, train others. I want to continue, and I will continue. Thank you.
This pandemic has definitely put things into perspective. So I've known Ben for quite a few years now, and when I'm watching him online, I love that he is continuing to hone in on his crafts. He's working out, he's entertaining, he's playing the piano, he's writing new songs. And if there's ever a person that demonstrates what it looks like to prepare a meal for oneself in the morning, it's Ben. He lays it out. It's as if he's in a restaurant. You know, he makes his bacon, his pancakes and his French toast, and he puts it on 2 different plates, and he has his beverage. He really practices self-care in the way in which he nourishes his body internally and as a fitness expert, also physically. And all in his share, there is gratitude again and again. In my last episode, I talked about the importance of moving our bodies. They're containers and they store fat and muscle, but they also store feelings that haven't been processed. There's this term, it's not a technical term according to my friend, even though it sounds like it, but it's metaphysical subconscious manifestation. I remember one time I had this really bad pain. Can't remember exactly where it was, but I know it was a pain, one that I couldn't shake. It was either my neck, my back, my hip. And I was dating this guy. The moment that I let go of that dating experience, I was healed. I really was. I felt so much better. And as I was reading up on this, there was the realization that I was storing some of those emotions within my body. It's important to move our body because some of our aches and pains come from strains and other things. And sometimes it just comes from pains, people. With that being said, this next year is from my beautiful baby sister and what she's created.
Hello, my name is Tanisha, an HR professional. What I've created for myself during this quarantine is an actual workout plan. Now, with the majority of the world being at home, I know it's very easy to be sedentary all day, not be as active because you're not with your coworkers, getting up for a run, going to the cafe, just going for a midday walk. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily routine of just sitting down at your computer, eating and working. So what I've noticed is a lot of people are offering online free workout courses. So I am taking full advantage of those opportunities because nothing is better than free and being able to do it in the comfort of your own home. Now, what I've also done to help hold me accountable for that is enlisted a lot of my friends to join me during those workout sessions so that we're able to FaceTime while we're doing the workouts. That way we can hold each other accountable. We can be each other's motivation and know that when we come out of this quarantine, not only are we going to be strong physically, but we're also going to come out of it mentally healthy. And I think that's equally as important. Stay strong, sanitize, and be well.
Hi, my name is Naima Bergen. I'm a lending and customer experience assistant at a financial nonprofit in Chicago, the Chicago Community Loan Fund. Since being in self-isolation and some norms that have been deconstructed in a sense, I would say primarily for me it's that expectation that downtime, relaxation, self-care is something that, has to be earned by working hard during the day, kind of finding time for myself into the space of, 6 or 7 to when I go to bed. For me, it's been really important to kind of spread that out through the day because, it's a very different environment working from home as opposed to working in an office setting. My idea of being productive has had to change along with that. A lot of the times I don't necessarily feel like I get as much done as I would have in the office, and so having to kind of, allow that to be a new norm and still feel like I, can take time for myself throughout the day and at the end of the day, regardless of how productive I've felt that I've been. And also just kind of releasing some restrictions on that strict 9 to 5. Sometimes, I can focus more between 4 and 6, or not so much between 12 and 2. And kind of just giving myself space to shift that around depending on the day, because every day has definitely been a little bit different, but also kind of keeping certain things consistent day to day, just so I can still feel like there's some sense of a schedule. But I think also just taking time throughout the day has been really important, stopping at 11 and maybe taking 30, 40 minutes to, read something else, or not look at my computer or not be on my phone. It's been helpful, and kind of giving myself space to maybe not get as much work done as I need to, but maintaining a sense of calmness and peace has been really important. And I think that is the main thing that has been something that I've had to focus on and accept as kind of like a new normal for me.
I'm like, go Naima, go. Because I don't know about y'all, but it took me many, many years before I got that lesson that she just dropped on us right there, which for me was that I don't have to look at breaks as a reward. Like, oh, I've been working for 5 or 6 hours, so now I can stand up and take a break. Now I can go over and have a 5-minute chat. Or when it's time for me to go on vacation, I'm going only because I've totally exhausted myself. One of the biggest things that I've learned is that hours worked does not equal productivity. Exhaustion is not efficient, whether it's mental or physical. It's important that we replenish and we recharge ourselves. So go Naima, go.
Hi, my name is Betsy, and I am a mobile enrollment specialist. The most surprising thing that I've learned about myself is that I'm really not the homebody that I thought I was. I think it's because I never really considered the places that I love to go to really like going somewhere. Like, for example, I love going to CVS. I love going to Stop and Shop. I like walking to my sister's house. And I think now that I'm supposed to stay home without as many supermarket runs or CVS runs, or even going to work for that matter, I don't like it. I'm very bored at home, and that also revealed something else about me, is that I really need human interaction and like the commuting and all that to stay motivated. I've learned that I'm lazy when nothing important is on the line. Like, if I don't have to wake up early, then I don't. If I think that I have all week to clean the house, then I literally wait all week and then it doesn't get done. As far as a connection that I have made, I think that I've connected more with myself these past few weeks. I also meditated for the first time with my partner, and so that too was a new connection, like a different connection. So that's all I have to say.
I hear you, Betsy. I long for human connection as well. It actually is my source of inspiration. I find inspiration in people, places, and things. I'd also like to insert that in this day and age, specifically during this pandemic, that we give ourselves grace. I know you've seen it, the memes saying, if you don't come out of this having written a book or build a business or have a banging body, that you didn't lack time. What you lacked is discipline. We live in a world where productivity is praised and relaxing is poo-pooed upon, and being lazy has a negative connotation. During this time, if you choose to do nothing, or you see that something doesn't seem as important, then it probably is not. You get to relax, heal, and simply be. And I can't wait to see you back in the office again. I miss you, boo. I seem to be attracted to and drawn to really productive people. Also people who are contributing to the community at large. And intelligent people as well. So that's for, any man out there, because I am still single. So I like productivity and I like intelligence, and I like a sense of humor as well. Anyway, I digress. I love seeing my highly productive people take pauses and experience the connections that they're having in their lives. I mentioned that I draw inspiration from places, peoples, and things. And I saw that Rachel had posted something that said, being in this quarantine has taught her a lot. And that was the impetus for this particular episode. Thank you, Rachel, my friend and Sankofa sister.
My name is Rachel Ibrahim. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. And I am a social work community organizer, activist, consultant, and racial equity trainer. What I've learned about myself during since the coronavirus is I've realized how much busyness in my life has led me to actually realize that I'm running away from myself. Spending that alone time, being alone, finding my way through loneliness to solitude. And I think in the fear of facing loneliness, I've spent so much time being on airplanes, running down the street, running errands, doing this, doing that, being everywhere, doing all the things, and not actually being with me in my thoughts, in my feelings. I thought I was, but now that I'm here, this is on a whole nother level. Expectations of normal that I've released. I have always been a morning person with high energy, and since COVID-19, I've found myself actually not having energy until after 12, and that's a huge shift. And so it's been just having to lean into, or getting to lean into, and accept that I may no longer, or may not for now, be a morning person. And in that acceptance, I've found a lot of pleasure or peace and silence. I've let go of the expectation of being like the lead organizer who knows what to do, or like being the person who has the suggestions for the next steps or how to respond to these moments, and realizing like I don't have answers. And then the other expectation of normal that I've released is I know that going outside is gonna feel different than how I've been used to experiencing my neighborhood for the 14 years that I've lived here. And there's I think each time I do go outside or sit on my stoop, I've released the expectation that it's going to feel like it used to. And to some degree, it's like I've come to expect that the new normal for now is strange and awkward. The new connections that I've made, one of the biggest one has been to myself, and that's been really cool. It's been uncomfortable at times and has had its own roller coaster, but it's also been necessary. And there's a young woman who lives with me. She's kind of like a niece, and but we don't get to spend much time together because I've always been on the road. And now that I'm here, we've started to exercise together and chat, and I make her smoothies in the morning, and it's actually been a source of great connection and joy because I miss hugs, touch, and having someone to laugh with almost feels like a hug these days. During this time, I've created and cultivated a stronger sense of faith in the vision beyond this moment. It feels easier for me to have faith today than it did 2 months ago. And I don't really know why. I just know that I feel like a level of conviction of like transformation is possible. I believe something better is coming. I don't have to hope for it. I believe it's coming. I know it's coming. And I've also cultivated new creative ideas that feel healing to me. So I'm an artist, and I've been so busy organizing and training and working, putting so many other things in motion that I haven't maintained consistency with art, which is life-giving to me. And I've had an abundance of new ideas come to me specific to art and storytelling and healing through that modality. And I look forward to leaning into that.
I'm Monika Dennis, and I'm the co-director of an organization called Move to End Violence. Since being quarantined, there are several expectations of normal that I am more than willing to let go of. I think, in fact, I'm in a season of defining what normal is or redefining that. And when I'm in conversation with my family or friends or coworkers or movement folks, I often say we are not going back to what was, that the world that we once knew no longer exists. And so there's a new world, a new ways of being that are calling us forth. And so I'm really interested and excited about preparing for and creating and really embracing a new normal. And so when I think of what's in my new normal and things that I want to be aware of, one of them is I want to be aware of, in my new normal, I'll be aware of when I am engaging in a false sense of urgency. So on any given day, my list of obligations is overflowing. So I have meetings I have for work that are incredibly important. There are family responsibilities that I care about. And then there's just other things that I have on my plate, right? So my plate and my list of obligations is often overflowing. And there was a way that I was seeing everything is urgent, right? Like everything had to get done by a certain time in a certain way, with a certain level of urgency. And quite frankly, that was wearing me out. And it was wearing me out. And so now I'm in a practice of distinguishing, knowing the difference between what's important and what's urgent. Many things are important, but everything doesn't have to be done at a particular time. So on any given day now, I rethink like what I'm about to do. Is it both urgent and important? And then I'll move forward with it. If it's not both, then I'll reprioritize and just come up with a different schedule for myself. I also think in the new normal, my sense of time has shifted. And so I have more time than I thought I did. I was always so busy, and it didn't leave time for the things that were also important to me outside of my work and family obligations. Like I love my family and my friends, and I didn't have enough time to be connected. There are projects and ideas that I find myself working on, but in my old sense of normal, I didn't have time for those. So even how I think of time, there is more than enough time for me to create the life that I want. Lastly, I think the other thing that I'm reminded of, or that I want in the new normal, is that we can cultivate relationships in a virtual space, right? That we can rethink how we spend time, and we can seek one another out and create this new normal where we can have family reunions and family dinners and spend time with our friends in a virtual space that's not all just about work and about tasks, but is about genuine connection. So I have loved going to the Instagram parties. I've been in some healing sessions that have been held virtually. I've been in some artistic endeavors. So I think just in my new normal, the way we learn, the way we connect, and the way we process will shift. I'm really actually excited for the new normal.
Me too, Moni Love. I can now say that I am excited too. Monika, aka Moni Love, is also my Sankofa sister. We went to Ghana together back in 2013. It was a vision of my middle daughters to have a service learning experience, and we did that in Ghana together. This quarantine experience has revealed so much, and I'm sure it will continue to reveal more things as we are still in it. And I can say now that I'm excited, but that wasn't always the case. In fact, it was hard for me to really articulate the pain that kept coming up for me. And I would well with such great emotions. And I was in mourning of what was. I am now moved into acceptance of what is, embracing what will be. No matter where you are on the spectrum of your feelings, from lazy to super productive, from connecting to disconnecting, joy to fear, laughter to tears. Wherever you are, you're not alone. Keep leaning in, keep loving, keep learning, growing, and above all, keep the faith.